And
and they hit hard.
part of the problem is that they're QL10, so they're actually balanced around the idea of being in far better gear than you are. Most of the mobs in there are linked to each other in some way, shape, or form, so it's pretty much impossible to just pull a single mob. And even better, then it does rather seem that frequently the mobs, the groups are actually linked somehow, so that if you pull sort of one member from one group and he is pulled while standing next to a member of a second group, you get both groups and a
Yeah,
repair.
but they are not QL tenders, so we're clear.
Are they not? I thought they were.
No, no, they are just orange to me. They are not red.
What QL are you in at the moment?
6. Well, it goes by skill level, not the QL level you are in,
Yeah.
and I have everything at 5 except one
Yeah.
head slot, which is 7. Let me check.
Fair enough.
Yeah, 8. So they are not QL 10, they are probably around 8, maybe. 7, 8. But they still hit hard for their level. Like there's plenty of other places in Scorched Desert when you fight these cultists, but
Yeah.
the ones which are roaming around the Hits factory they are just pain in the ass. I don't know if it was meant to be pain in the ass or what was supposed to be happening there.
60. Sorry, I'm just having to concentrate so that I click a button at the right time.
Yeah, sure.
I'm in Hatchet Falls at the moment.
Oh, lovely place, lovely place.
Put myself back into... Oh, and Group Finder has once again forgotten who I am. Dungeons, any elite. And let's see if there's anyone useful in there at the moment.
Have you noticed the changes they made to the cameras, by the way?
Which cameras?
Surveillance cameras.
Yeah, which cameras?
Well, all of them. Because now, whenever I'm trying to achieve a mission where there are cameras, even if I step just a little into them, they will keep me tracked for like ages.
Yeah.
Unless I kind of manage to really, really hide it. And
you
even
have
if
to
I'm
like
kind of
properly break
behind a
line of
building,
sight, yeah.
yeah.
Yes, I have noticed. They put it in a while back.
Right.
And it has irritated me repeatedly since.
Right now, I'm not fighting anyone, but for some reason I'm still in combat.
Sounds like you need to kill someone for the hell of it. Seriously, that's normally the fastest way to break yourself out of artificially being in combat, is to be in combat and then exit combat.
Now I have sprint and I'm still in combat. I think it's those damn surveillance cameras, because they just lash onto you.
I can't honestly say that I recall being kept in combat by surveillance cameras.
Yeah, but I move away
yeah.
and I drop out of combat, like the glowing thing above my skills disappears.
Yep.
I move back to the same spot, I get into combat. There's nothing attacking me, the mobs aren't reacting to me.
Sure there's not like a mob in the wall or something?
That I would not be able to tell.
It's a feature.
Honestly, I'm gonna.
Um,
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna blame security cameras for everything now.
fair enough.
They have been pissing me off royally.
No.
It's
Oh,
just, it's incredible for how far away they track you.
I'm wondering if I failed to spell password right there.
What is this password you speak of?
Um, it's a
Like,
password.
what the fuck? Seriously, I was not standing in that fucking light.
Yeah.
And still that stupid thing activated. Wow, wow.
Oh crap.
This is not fun when the game tries to play you. Yeah, getting clearing the path is extremely useful. It's more
Agreed.
of an ability to use elemental force.
So yeah, I'm now getting 10 billion. Wow, that was 10 billion for that mission. Didn't think I was getting quite that many per turn in Transylvania.
The issue missions, they give more bullion.
Ah, right.
Last train to Cairo side missions gave 10 bullion, and main missions gave 15, sorry, 11, 15.
I did not have the sanity to do the last train to Cairo side missions. I was just like, try and get in, get out. It's going to take you long enough.
Yeah, no, I did the whole shebang today with Akikinis,
Indeed.
who was
Ah, crap. All my stuff's breaking.
happy enough to help.
Ah, that's nice of her.
But yeah, it's it was very nice of her, and The issue missions are giving the extra bullets,
Oh, that's good.
so they're still. Yeah, that's good.
I suppose
Although
you get this credits. You would be getting credits of Cardoro for them. Is the theory originally?
well, you did,
Yeah.
and now you're getting bullets instead.
Indeed.
But the experience was appalling.
Yeah.
It was XP gained. I was really expecting a lot more XP gained from that mission, and it was not
Right.
that great.
Ooh. Okay, that repair just hurt. But yes, given that I'm now sort of at the point where I'm doing sort of I've got most of the abilities which I want. Well, no, I don't have most of the abilities. Well, I'm a total liar. I have a load of the abilities which I want, and so sort of my AP are becoming sort of slightly less of a sort of thing for me to focus on rather than trying to sort out my gear, because yeah, I'm definitely not getting any. Oh, you're kidding me. I don't know if it just like randomly signs you out of looking for group every like 10 minutes or something.
It's supposed to be doing new searches every 50 minutes or something like that, refreshing.
Right. Oh. 34. But yeah, I can understand why they still want to implement the group finder, because at the moment it is looking like the only way that I'm going to get a group for these elites is by putting one together myself, and for a lot of new players that's sort of not something which they feel terribly comfortable about.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference between players. Some people feel just fine
Yeah.
leading groups, others will be intimidated by that. But to be honest, in any game, unless there's the people who are willing to make the groups, kind of will do better than those who will not.
Yes.
And well, if I was shy to kind of make groups, then auto finder or auto matching would be kind of godsend for me,
Yeah.
as I just rely on some algorithms and whatever I get.
Indeed.
But to be frank, I personally prefer to be able to make my groups, just like in TSW, you send a message, I want to make groups, or you go and pick up and talk to people and say, hey, do you want to come?
Yeah.
If so, where do you want to come? And that sort of stuff. I think it helps the community and also helps you to establish quite easily who you want to continue with. Because if you like the initial contact with the person and then follow that up with, say, that he has done well in the dungeon, you know, you add him to the friends list,
Yeah.
and you have kind of
Oh, it promotes
some fun.
networking and.
Yeah. While the auto finder, which you find in many MMOs now, you just kind of consider your group mates as NPCs more or less.
Yeah.
And if they just give you some jaw, you put them on the ignore list, and that's about it.
Yeah. Right. So. Oh, come on, you bastard thing. Oh, blast.
Yay! Another mission done.
Grad.
Thank you, my life is now fulfilled. But yeah, doing missions is definitely the best. Quickly, not the gear, but APs and SPs. And APs and SPs is what usually, but at least for me, is what holding me back rather than the gear. I've been able to kind of scrape together good stats, which allowed me to do well in terms of killing the mobs. As long as I don't have to kill large number of them,
Yeah.
it's fine. Even if they are devastating and should have been otherwise not within my ability. But when it comes to progressing, I'm now limited by APs and SPs because I will just not be getting enough experience from doing harder missions.
Yeah.
So it's not the fact that I cannot be doing them, it's not worth my time.
Yeah.
It would take me longer because it would be harder and they will give me a lot less reward. So, yeah. And again, I think I mentioned every stream and we'll mention it again. In normal circumstance, if I hadn't been playing this game before, if I hadn't been racing, then really it is worthwhile to do everything. And if you do everything, like all of the missions and watch the cutscenes,
Yeah.
side missions are kind of less of a point, but if you do enjoy the story in TSW and you watch the cutscenes and just enjoy yourself, then you will be swimming in APs and SPs in no time and you will be progressing just fine. But if you try to rush the content, then there's definitely a limitation, which is a pain in the ass. So for me it's been APs and SPs while I was doing fine in terms of gear, and obviously that was the benefit of me running dungeons with the Cabales.
Yeah. Interestingly, at the opposite end of the spectrum, sort of, whilst I've been, I've had plenty of different. I've had lots of SP and AP available to me, but for those who've seen my stream, I've been really limited in terms of what upgrades I've been able to get, and sort of, and those upgrades have been few and far between. I've had a couple of drops, which have been lucky, but most of the time, sort of the drops which I've ended up with have actually been less useful than they could have been, because it would be exchanging the sort of, I would be decreasing my useful stats sort of in order to increase my attack rating, and sort of, and it's things like, if you glance, then you're not going to be getting the full amount of your attack rating giving you damage anyway, and so I think it's a really interesting balance, and one of the things which we were discussing earlier was the concept of, if you are trying to level up as a healer or as a tank, then as they are sort of far more group-oriented roles, if you're not actively out there doing the content, then it seems to be much harder to actually get your hands on the gear to play that role.
Yes, indeed. But on the other hand, it's a case of, for me at least, I would rather have lower attack rating than having lower hits. Because it's a case of, yes, I might be hitting for smaller amounts, but at least I will be hitting. If you have massive amount of attack rating, but your big hits get evaded, then you are basically screwed.
I had a great example of that, going up against some mobs who had an evade buff, and they absolutely ripped me apart. And then as soon as their evade buff fell off, like, I killed one in a single elemental forced dancing blade, but they'd previously managed to avoid like a full rotation of builders and a dancing blade because of their evade buff. And yeah, and just, it's definitely better to do lower DPS, which is guaranteed to actually be DPS, as opposed to have the potential to maybe have higher damage. And it'd be interesting to be looking at the sort of actual sort of, if you were able to pass it, and actually get specific overall DPS stats, but one of the things which, as endgamers, sort of, whenever we're talking about gear, sort of people ask us what is the most important stat, we always say hit.
Yeah, the point with hit though is that you want to have the exact amount you need, because any point above that amount is a wasted stat. As it doesn't increase your DPS, it just prevents DPS loss. So that's why, depending on how much gear you have and how much time you have, you might actually want, if you are into min-maxing, like really to the finest grain of min-maxing, you will actually want to have different gear sets with different hit ratings depending on the kind of boss you're fighting.
Which,
But
given
most of
the
us have. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, given the changes to gearing now, and most of us who have been playing for a while have a gear set which is rigged to be sort of the best generalized fit. Because I'm sort of the upgrade kits to the upper echelons were only available through raid drops, and so given the fact that there was high competition for raid drops and you weren't even guaranteed that one was going to drop if you completed the raid, it meant that you weren't able to really experiment with stuff, because just the potential for wasting stats was sort of going to have a significant impact on you. Now, I think that actually there's a lot of potential for us and the community generally to be experimenting with different hit amounts in different dungeons, and indeed on different bosses. Could be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting, especially as nightmare raids come out and the demand on our builds increases.
Quick, someone talk to Chemo and get him started on it.
Chemo, you need to make 10 different pieces for each slot.
No, just
what?
You'd start off just experimenting with hit rating. So sort of like if you did comparative, just try and tweak a bit of hit rating, see what kind of pass difference you were having, which might then give you general trends, and then if you throw it open to sort of to the real min maxes, then sort of I'm sure that there are a load of them out there who are itching to get their teeth into something new and mathematical. And
yeah, they can do regressions, but it's mostly testing which matters.
Yeah.
As in what you see in parses and consistency of them. I'd say that, well, just explaining the stats in TSW, I'm sure that we have touched upon this many times, but like the hit rating is something which you want to have exact amount of. Once you go beyond the 0 point in glances and evades, you will have no benefit at all. And I'm not sure how much difference in terms of hit rating you need to go from like 1% to 0%, but I don't think it's significant, so you can go for 0 if you like, or you can go for 1% or whatever you want. A bit different story is penetration rating, and penetration rating first fights block rating, and once it's done fighting block rating, that means that you don't get blocked anymore. It goes straight into penetration chance and straight into diminishing returns. So the value needed for penetration rating to be a stat worthwhile compared to other stats available to you will also differ from boss to boss. It will always be better than hit rating above the threshold because it's still an increase in chance to penetrate. But at some point you will go where it will be more beneficial for you to put points into crit and crit power rather than penetration rating in order to increase DPS. And those points will differ also from boss to boss. A simple example being like Polaris. Polaris is an extremely penetration intensive dungeon. Udraug, the final boss. If you've seen my first stream, I did Polaris normal, but you also have Polaris Nightmare, and that boss is extremely demanding in terms of penetration rating because he has very high block rating. But very few other dungeons have that. You have Slaughterhouse as well, which is which requires a lot of penetration rating. But most others do not require the same numbers. They do require penetration rating, so you can't like go in and say, no, I don't need penetration rating here, I'll just go all crit rating and crit power. That's not gonna happen. But you will have good chunks of stat differences in order to be optimally effective. So you will be effective, don't get me wrong, you will do great with generic builds that we've been using for ages, because it's what's been worthwhile to do. But in order to like push the last 50 DPS, and I'm literally talking about like 50 DPS rather than 500 DPS, you would need to really min max, and you will need multiple sets of gear which would have different differences and stuff like that. So could be a lot of fun, but it definitely will take a lot of time. I sincerely hate the cameras.
My word, I've been invited into a group for an elite. Oh god, the thrill.
Congrats! As the DPS?
Yep.
Sweet.
Now comes the hideously embarrassing point where I realise that I don't have half of my abilities for an actual DPS build.
I don't know why Funcom did. The camera doesn't seem anymore. It stopped bleeping, doing anything. It's back to its normal. I'm still in combat.
That is weird.
Yeah.
God Brawler. Do I need element of force? God, my build is just an abomination.
How so? Oh, you mean the glances innovate?
Oh, no, just desperately trying to put together a build so I don't totally humiliate myself in this group. And I'm going to humiliate myself in this group. Um, um, I keep looking at like my friends. On my top bar, I have friends list and Cabal list, like number of people online in each. And weirdly, on this character, it reads 0 and 0 because he has no friends. It's also suddenly discovering that my 5 Alive has hover targeting turned on. Which I don't want.
So I have now reached the rank of Arbiter, I guess?
Grats.
Oh yeah, I'm like totally rocking it. No, Authority, not Arbiter, Authority. Rank 6 out of 13.
Woo.
Yeah, they promised us that those ranks would actually matter to some degree, but they do not. Well, they do matter to get the sprint upgrades. You can also apparently buy grenades, which I have actually never used myself, so I don't know if they're useful or not.
They're not. The casting time's too long on them. The cooldown's too long on them. Damage is too low on them. Can't use them in PvP.
No, I know they can use them in PvP or dungeons. I meant for leveling.
In
But
which
if
case,
the- yeah.
cast time's too long.
Yeah. Alright, I guess it's time to go and visit site. Oh, fuck that. I'm gonna go and visit the Oxford guys. Now, there's one good thing about the challenges is that they kind of take all different aspects of the game and allow you to participate in them even while you're leveling. So if you would be leveling for a while, for example, you would just, you know, like run missions and do investigations and whatnot. Well, it's kind of great that then you have different challenges will give you, let's say, 10 marks of Pantheon for completing them, and it's just a case of doing like 15 or 13 missions or something like that, which is reasonable amount to do when you're leveling within a week. And often you will have like different different missions specific to a different area to be done as a daily. So it's a bit of hit and miss depending on what areas you have unlocked. But just a thing, right now there's a mission in New England, so you can basically go back to Solomon Islands, do a mission, and get some marks of Pantheon. And little by little, that will allow you to kind of get much quicker into the end game once you get there or want to go there.
Identification. Cargo vessel Polaris. Reported lost in Atlantic Ocean August 14, 2007.
Alright. 21 Celsius stuff.
Approaching a major biological threat. Exercise caution.
Just as a side note, the reason I went for this mission is so devastating to me, but it's an investigation mission, and I know that I don't have to fight there. So in theory it should be quick, but we'll see. At least now I've got rid of my inventory overload. Yeah, I gathered a lot of green crap which I need to get rid of.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Here you can see me fighting devastating mobs, and as long as I don't pull many of them, the fights are fairly trivial.
Upgrades. Oh, the beautiful upgrades.
Whee! So how is your dungeon run going?
Smooth. Someone DC'd on Varangian, and we're now up to her Draug, so...
Oh, nice. So is it organized by some
it's Group Finder.
10.4s?
It's been organised by some people who need their daily, but the guy who
Right.
has actually organised it has got about... I think he's got 3 purples and the rest are blues. So it's possible that he's not actually past the gatekeeper himself. Sort of. And he's DC'd now, so I can't really check out his kit anymore. But
That's nice. Yeah, I'm guessing that the kind of the first elite is the easiest one because it's whatever. You need all of them. It's gonna become more and more messy as you become pickier
yeah,
as in what you need.
which again I think is where the Cabal is going to be helping you. Because in all probability, it's going to get to the point where I'm going to have to be actually getting into the position where I'm sort of picking my own groups. And if we get a load where it's sort of like run an elite, then awesome. Because then I can start my own group, and I can say, right, we're going to go and do Blur. But yeah, if it's sort of, and it's going to be harder and harder for me to get picked up by other people's groups as we go on. And I've put the guy who organised it and then DC'd on my friends list so that we can see if he can come, if he actually comes back on.
Well, that's nice of you. Was that in Templar or?
He's a dragon.
Dragon. Okay.
There is one Templar in here who is in Inglorious Bastards.
Right. Yeah, I'm doing now an investigation mission for the Oxford Occult Department or something like that.
Oh, yep.
And
I said, oh yes.
yeah, and the funny thing about that is that they send you into a lair area. So I'm guessing that if you are new to the game and all of a sudden you go and do this mission and you have this huge pop-up going on like kaboom, you are now entering the doom.
Yup.
Don't be afraid, there are no mobs.
It's big black cinematic with tentacles coming in through the edge of your screen. Oh my god.